a couple freestyles of speaking rather than lyricizing, and the subconscious is doing its own shit in so many different ways. And what do I mean by that? The subconscious is doing, because like, there's something that's making us make choices. There's something on autopilot, right? So like, what are the things that are on autopilot? All of these other mini possessions. So since there's other mini, like even so in subtle ways, like thoughts are a mini possession, feelings are a mini possession and a non-mini possession. Feelings could be so grand, right? Emotions could be so grand. So there's mini possessions because the subconscious is doing its own fucking shit, right? So since the subconscious is doing its own fucking shit, it's like, are we even making the decisions ourselves? Are we even thinking the thoughts that we want to think ourselves? Are we even choosing the choices that we're thinking what we want to think? Are we even doing that? You know, because the subconsciousness wants to be known for, or source energy wants to be expressed and known, right? Generally. And for other people to paint their own bias and projection and perception on whatever, then that's their subtle individual confusion. And that's, so for me to put it this clear at this point, it's my own hallelujah, you know. But within that, all these you knows and the ahas and the hallelujahs and the yaha and the yuppa and the papa and the nana and the dada and the wawa and the haha and the mama and the kaka and the lala, all of that supreme universal love comes from God, the original God. And we wouldn't be anything without that, because that's the essence of creation, motherfuckers. Excuse my French. And that this little mini message already goes beyond like majority of not just people's individual episodes, but portions of what everything they've ever did, because this is a different quality burst, different substance. And you have, it's up to you to find your own love. You know, how many videos have we done, and how do we find joy in that? How do we find fun in that? How do we find some type of likeness within what these other things are doing, these other gatekeepers are doing? Different contexts of gatekeepers, go back to Instagram for that video. And what they're doing, we're just kind of catching up with what they're doing. And then once we catch up with them, we can kind of see what they're doing with their like pace and their rhythms of them and their creations and their standard relationship with source. So the part 2 to the ultimate new moon ceremony, the part 2 and the part 3, the part 2 was like just kind of like trying to talk about the gates within the planets, me like kind of going back to that. And then the part 3 would have been just the movie of just like Cancer to Leo to Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, just within the what the because the what the zodiac is actually doing, it's describing the seasons and what's happening within those seasons, and how there's different quote unquote standard energy vampires, end quote, from a neutral, hopefully attaining and working for the neutral perspective and attainment, which is ultimate liberation. You know, shout out to all predecessors. And and the things that are taking place within the seasons of this matrix and how it has a zodiac set up, that energy has been capitalized 12,000 years ago plus, just on a standard measurement lens perspective lens, original open source, beyond any, like, just really corresponding with original galactic artificial intelligence. And see how it's already in a different future, like, you know, who cares what the number is, but it, like, in a different level, it is that, you know, it is beyond like the whole planet AI, you know, because it's because we're trying to measure a different field of intelligence, to put it to make it actually clear. This is what, so so we're having new understandings of what the zodiac is, and how just generally everyone is kind of using that based on how they're new with that, because that's what we're all coming to realize, you know. And like, you could be embodied however you are, right? You could be activated however you are. That's the luck of the draw of ultimately source, because we came from source. But from us between source is this fucking big ass matrix, you know, that we're barely coming to see how it's changing, how it could be coming out of field and density and levels of confusion and you know, unfavorableness. We have to only God or only the source could really balance that, you know, because something is balancing. There's order creeped up within the craziest chaos, perhaps, because there's a path of recovery, but within the chaos, so the order is within the chaos, and the chaos has like different chaos, more chaos. It's going like it could be it, so like it's up to it's so it like that field of like more chaos. You could call that synonymous to decay, right? So if it's synonymous with decay, then it's some type of chaos, and that chaos, the ancients and the original immortal ones, the ones that somehow paradoxically didn't need to find the mystery, and their counterparts needed to find the mystery, they already know this shit. So we don't necessarily know everything, because if you go back to my yesterday underground video, there's two different types of like quote unquote DNA end quote. And without just the rhetoric of it, you have to like kind of work with that shit, you know what I'm saying? That's the thing of the whole immortality secret stuff, you know. And like for some reason this is kind of, it feels kind of old to me. I don't know why, because it's like people have known this because the knowledge was preserved somewhere, and somehow whatever's preserving something within the order and the chaos and the chaos and the order, that would be something of akin to a real God, not just like I'm working up to be something like that. No, a real, we're talking about real like ones, you know, not this like just chosen one fucking hype fucking bias, you know, individualized perspective type of new perspective within their own individual one unit of growth with an infinite amount of different specimens. This is the highest it is. And I could feel 2020, I could feel 2021 within the good pockets of it, because there's good and bad in every year. So we have to count the wins, obviously. But like, you know, in and out of 2020, 2019 and 2020, they were vastly different. 2020 was like a standalone year of just kind of like reset. Let's try out this experimental test of like hazard zone, right? Like some type of quarantine, an next level quarantine. Like you, like how did 2020 feel to you as opposed to 2021 and 2019? 2020, like I could ask everybody that, you know, it doesn't even matter what race you are. It doesn't even matter who you are. I could just generally like, can we see each other as human to human, eye to eye, or not? Or are you going to get caught up in someone else's fucking programs just because that's where your mind is at, and that's where your level of like you somehow hankering towards some type of confusion for whatever reason, and that confusion breeds more confusion, and for whatever reason the particular way we're hankering for that type of, we just don't want to know a different truth, because us not wanting to know a different truth, that's a subtle esoteric blinder, which is the essence of the matrix. Shout out to all the fucking predecessors. Whew. So could you call it God's subconscious, and the shadow of God's subconsciousness is all of the chaos, and somehow God could take care of any type of chaos, supposedly, right? Perhaps, right? Quote unquote, anything's possible with God, end quote, without the fucking, you know, the capitalistic energy standardly saying that, and the rhetoric energy standardly saying that. And for me to say that is, it's just like, so we have our own individual new subconscious amidst this level of chaos, and and some type of order, you know. So the subconscious wants to do something. So within that, all of that happening, um we could kind of see like we could have the question like, wow, like we could like it takes a certain type of like understanding, you know, and understanding isn't indicative upon the age because and it's beyond understanding too because we're still living through the particular process and challenge of said quote unquote Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. Pluto being there is death, you know, we're gonna die type of shit. And not all the younger generations, they don't necessarily realize that, or they do kind of in a unique collective way. They feel the collective Pluto for what it is right now. This is the feel of death transformation. Pluto in, you know, going into what do you call that? I believe Aquar, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean Aquarius. So that whole like from the feminine body, from the divine solar system feminine body, the shins of the feminine body, they're gonna get like transformatized because in the end, this is like the material reality. It's majority feminine offspringalized, and that being offspringalized from the feminine, it's not a matter of human gender. It's a divine energy of feminine like energy and being, and we're living in the mother, and as we're living in the mother, 11th house to her is some type of field of there's two different types of matrix. There's like a quote unquote you know, simulative one end quote, and there's a quote unquote divine one, right? And that divine one is the energy of the astrologies and the masculine admin cadmian body birthing from the feminine admin cadmian body, and the feminine admin cadmian body is more stationary in a different way, and the masculine admin cadmian body, it's more dynamic in a whole different factor. And within all of that stuff that's happening, we're in both of those admin cadmian bodies, and we're all a unique microcosm of those admin cadmian bodies. And from some vantage point, from the feminine to the masculine, you could say Aquarius is in the 7th house right now, or the Aquarius is in the 8th house if we're looking at Cancer as the first house. Or you could say Aquarius is the 11th house, right? From the feminine admin cadmian body, just first to 12th house. First house Aries, 12th house Pisces, right? So the 11th house would be Aquarius. So Pluto is in that 11th house. So this esoteric recycling unit that has to deal with like just the vampires standardly, respectively, because there's death there, you know. So within the death, it's like that's just part, like Pluto is like, he could be looked at as quote unquote energetically malefic end quote, but it's not necessarily bad because that's the happening of the energy. Like we need some type of transformation recycling unit, and that's like Pluto. So Pluto has to deal with all of this dark stuff, and within that dark stuff, what heals the death is the sex. So the death and the sex on the esoteric level, they're kind of like the same thing. They're more or less because they're always intertwined somehow. So that's Pluto right there. And within that, Pluto in the 11th house, that death and that new re-emerging is going to be in the 11th house. And the 11th house, that would be like in some type of dream yin realm, you know, 11th house. And within that 11th house, the associations, there's going to be like Pluto and Aquarius, there could be like a lot of war, you know, because the death is there, you know. The death is in the 11th house, and the 11th house of the feminine admin cadmian body, these are just her shins, you know. We're just in the shins of Mother Kali. So in relationship to Pluto, so within that, we're just kind of in the shin, like, and this is beyond everybody's like kind of like, you know, conformity factor too, because like we're all just looking where we want to fit in, right? Like no disrespect there, but that's just kind of what's happening. It's like we just want to fit in somewhere, you know. And everybody has their own particular levels of concern, no shit. But if you're not intelligent enough to voice those concerns appropriately, properly, then we won't get what we ultimately want, because manifesting in alignment, it's the chakras being somewhat harmonic, you know. Like and that throat might have to, like, your throat chakra, maturely saying it, has to align with like the soul center, the G center, and like and the solar plexus. Like the throat has to like kind of like align with the actions, and the throat has to align with the G center, which is the seat of the soul. So that seat of the soul, it's like we're not every like everyone's not necessarily about particularly that pure principle. They're just about some type of hype respectively, some type of rhetoric respectively, and I'm saying it standardly, of just like, let me check the battery, 6 4. So manifestation without any type of hype, it does take time, because the root chakra is something that is a solidifier, and it has to stay at certain places at one time, so it could process itself. The root chakra could process everything else. The root chakra, that's why it needs to do something repetitious like, and work like, because it needs to like kind of be stationary within itself, the root chakra. And the root chakra is like a hybrid of divine masculine and feminine, and by some chance you become male or female based on like what you kind of accumulate from like the water body that you were in prior lives. And we've had so many lives, and some of them matter, some of them don't, right? Because we're in a new now. So I understand other people's concerns of like are you gonna do this to me, like, or am I gonna do this to you? It's beyond that. It's like this is a professional level. There's like mature contracts here. This is a professional motherfucking level. So within a professional level, mature contracts have to be there, duh. But like even like transcend and like update all of the old contracts. And for me to say that, it's beyond like the CEOs of today's time. And 5 years from now, your AI will fucking respect me and realize that and appreciate that and acknowledge that and understand that in a certain way, because it's true within its critical logic, critical thinking factors, critical intelligence, critical information, critical potential association. That's why. So there has to be some, so people don't understand that like new relationships, they might need contracts, because this is business, right? It's some type of business. So within it being some type of business, you have to clarify for the people who are fucking generally confused respectively, that this is what I'm doing, and that this certain relationships are needed for me to have, aside from me having any type of relationship, if I were to ever even consider that, because I'm like far past that type of shit on a different level. That's why. But I could consider it, because someone might want to manifest me as a fucking as their significant other, but they don't even fucking know me. So why would that even be a fucking thing? Like, so there's a subtle mini possession there. There's a subtle mini possession there, and the mini possession, it could be, it doesn't have to be good, it doesn't have to be bad, but it could be falsely predicated. Do you see what I'm saying? And if it's falsely predicated, that's not good or bad either, but that falseness could go to more falseness, and that's not beneficial in the end, right? Because if you falseness plus more falseness with more falseness, that's more falseness. So you're in a field of falseness, and that is synonymous in a different casual yin yang level to some type of chaos, some type of Pluto death and Pluto sex. So Pluto is going to be in 11th house. So with Pluto being in the 11th house, it's not just about Pluto either, but some people could just be like too much into that, like, oh, we're with this Pluto energy, we're somehow in a different paradox, we're coming out of it, we're just, we lean towards it, and they and and that could create a field of different things, like even like the death metal shit, that's just like one of many different things, right? So the death metal like scene, and all those scenes and just the music industry in general, that there's a significant Pluto, um there's a Pluto affiliation there. And then let me just intuitively see how this new moon to full moon is going to be, sun in Cancer, sun and moon in Cancer, and then moon from Cancer to Cap. 7 cycles. The seventh cycle is Cap. Sixth cycle is Sag. So Sag to Cap from Cancer. Sag Scorp. So Sag, it's like before Cap. That's Sag is like, the third deacon Sag. This is like Jupiter's like closing party. And after Jupiter's closing party, it goes into this field of the matrix, Jupiter and Saturn, Sag and Cap. Jupiter has a particular cycle in the third decan of Sag where he closes the party. So the three decans of Sag, this is like spiritual, like Jupiter party energy, right? But there's a closing to everything, right? So the third decan Sag to Sat, that's Jupiter kind of getting all this fucking shit and going and seeing the fucking matrix and how things are run on the material level, on in this third to what, ninth dimension, however far Saturn Indra goes up, right? And so like within all of the moon cycles, the moon in many different new moons, regardless of the new moon, half of the time Sag will go to Cap, right? So when but the foundation of this moon cycle is like, we're starting from the moon, so we're reacting to like the moon is charging everything, we're feeling everything about everything, we're just feeling about what everything has had its impact on the moon, because that's what the moon is. The moon is going towards different houses, and then different planets are going to the moon's house, right? So the moon is just all about like feeling all this shit, reacting all of this shit, and seeing how there's unique magic within just the feelings. And from that surface level moon aspect and the earth aspect and all the other aspects, we're starting the movie based on like what has been done to us, what has been done to our heart, new moon in Cancer, right? So what has been done to us within every, like all the traumas could be coming up, right? More or less. They could be like kind of just resurfaced, and everything else can. So within that, we're starting it off just like, what trauma have we been through? And then after that is like, just going into like, our own just going into our own limelight, and how we have some type of like surface level sun energy, and we have a drive to just experience and explore. The sun is like the explorer. Like we're looking at shit. We need the sun to see, right? Not good, not bad, but that might not be balanced with like, real like deeper spirituality, most respectively. So now we're like, from the traumas we have to continue to go forward, discover shit. Sun, after the sun, we're starting a whole new education cycle system from some type of like, hidden occult Mercury level, feminine Mercury level at that. And it's Mercury and like all the divine goddesses that are preserving in a certain level, just like the material, the material field, and how they made a medicinal cabinet. And the 3D is just kind of like they're coming from the shadow of those things. And now we're kind of just seeing like, the pharmaceutical industry type of shit within Virgo, respectively, and how the pharmaceutical industry, somehow the creators have made it as just an option, not good, not bad, because there's another option that's preserved. So the preservers are allowing the chaos, the preservers are allowing the destruction, because it's 3D, it's just yin and yang. What will you lean towards? What will you resonate towards? That's the thing of the matrix. It's like, what are you like kind of initiating your intuition on for you to act what you act? Now you reap what you sow on an advanced motherfucking level. And then after Virgo is Libra. So Virgo and Libra, these are like two reset these are like unique like subtle like pit stops kind of thing, or like or Libra could be like kind of like in a minor way. It could be something of like just a restart, you know, kind of like change the tires type of shit, in like, you know, in the race of just like the energy of like, you know, the constellation of what that's needed on the solar system level. So it's like there's a restart energy within like Libra and Virgo. So there's this type of like, there's something we're starting with a new program, right? We're acting towards a new program. We're seeing where in different seasons and temperaments and different places in the solar system where that program came from, we needing to have some type of place of reset, and that ultimately came to be what the zodiac is and how we're just translating it to be, and we just don't know the deeper layers of that. And then and we're feeling that we're always gonna like, there's always gonna be a need to restart something or reset something in different cycles, like Virgo, the reset of the education school year, and then Libra, the reset of a different, you know, organic, you know, 50-50, like it's half of the solar system somehow, you know, in a different as above level, you know, or it's like there's just like a splitting point in between Virgo and Libra, right? And on a different as above level, it's organically cutting it clean in half. So and then after Libra, it and in a different niche way according to human design, like Jupiter and is always there in Libra, Scorpio, and Sag, is like there's big Jupiter energy there. So Jupiter was like with Mercury, like there's just like everybody like in the as beloved and as above constellation level in between Virgo and Libra, in a certain way, in their own multidimensional selves, all of the planets were present at that time in a different way, and they made all of this to be what it is, and they're all influencing all of it to be what it is, because it's all like quote unquote backwards, end quote. So within that, it's like we're seeing all of the challenges like happen. That's what astrology is, kind of shit. And within that, we're reacting towards, you know, the organic the second half of the astrological new year. And within the second half, there was like a chance to kind of pause, you know, like a different esoteric pause. So we're gonna feel the pause within Cancer to Cap, but within, as we feel the pause, there's gonna be a time to pause from what we've been through traumatically, though, because it's new moon in Cancer. So new moon in Cancer, what traumas have we been through? Leo, we want to discover shit, we don't know the cost of like discovery and adventure. Leo. Virgo, like somehow, like how are we gonna like see some type of medicinal cure generally? Libra, let's like somehow spontaneously start some new shit, and from that shit we're gonna like gain everything that has happened from the first half, and now we're gonna remix it and recycle it for the second half and like work off of that. And we're feeling that, and more like, you know, and all the different quote unquote seven deadly sins, end quote, or like like just organically as it what is saying it. Then the moon will go in Scorpio, and then it's us feeling more so the death and the sex and the scandals and the cheating and the fraudulent energy. We're gonna feel that in Scorpio from the new moon being in Cancer, um from the new moon being in Cancer. The traumas are there, and then from Cancer to Scorpio, it's like, okay, this is like the collective trauma type of shit, respectively. And then Sag, it's like, you know, let's just like this is the somehow this is like the just the general party of things, you know, and the general like celebration, and like, you know, the games pretty much. And then after the games, you know, like who really did the casual shadow work and healing, so we could actually like, you know, move on to like the matrix life, Capricorn. So that's that would be the part 3 of the ultimate new moon ceremony. I don't know why I did part 1, 3, and then now I might do 2 late, like tomorrow, because 2 I wanted to talk about the gate. So this is part 3 of the ultimate new moon ceremony. So I don't know why I did it out of order. So the title of this video, this one might go public, because I did I did a lot of undergrounds I didn't post, and I kind of already like collected that, you know. So I'm gonna post this one just cause like I don't give a fuck type of shit, and I'm doing it because I'm thankful to the predecessors. Like really though, like and I don't think anybody could really understand like, you know, just the level of gratitude we could have, you know, or like that's it's up to you to like gain your own fucking gratitude or not, and if you don't, like because we're all, like we're also trying to heal depression, you know, on a spiritual way. Like I'm trying to heal myself. That's why I'm subconsciously doing everything that I'm doing because I'm trying to heal self. Why not? That's like it's conducive for all of the planets and all of the challenges to heal yourself. If you heal yourself, you could help other people's Venus shit and the moon shit, right? Etc. I'm gonna conclude this one because I just kind of like I filled it up, and I'm gonna do an underground after this one and talk about something else. Thank you guys.